Today, I'd like to give you a look at some of the little golden books that have been published over the years. Now, did you know that Walt Disney produced an animated film of the story of Noah's Ark, not once, but twice? In 1933, it was the Silly Symphony cartoon, Father Noah's Ark. Then, in 1959, another animated short, really a featurette, simply called Noah's Ark. And this time, it was not hand-drawn animation, but stop-motion animation, using found objects like corks and erasers and pipe cleaners. Why am I bringing up Noah's Ark when we're going to be talking about Little Golden Books? Because we're going to be looking at Little Golden Books 2 by 2. If only there had been a Disney Little Golden Book about Noah's Ark, we'd be all set. But, well, maybe we'll get to that next time. But at any rate, Little Golden Books were first issued in 1942. It's the 78th anniversary of the Little Golden Books. And the first Disney Little Golden Books were published shortly thereafter, in 1944. So there's been a good number of them over the years. You will recall in my video about Sleeping Beauty merchandise, I showed the Sleeping Beauty Little Golden Book. But over the years, there's also been Snow White. In more recent times, Wreck-It Ralph, and even Frozen, and this is a real beauty. So there's been a wide variety of Little Golden Books and Disney Little Golden Books over the years. But as I said, I'd like to take a look at Little Golden Books 2 by 2, and it's a remarkable approach that there were often at least 2 Little Golden Books about each of the major films, certainly the animated ones. So here we have Aladdin from 1992, and as you can see, there's 2 here. Let's take a look at this one first. This is sort of the basic story of the film, and it does include the flight on the magic carpet, but it's this second one here that really takes that story and expands upon it. And this is an approach that's quite typical with the Little Golden Books, to certainly have one that focuses on the main story and then some aspect where a closer look is taken. So it's a little story in itself without going into the whole overall Aladdin story. Going back to Alice in Wonderland in 1951, there were actually 3 Little Golden Books focusing on aspects of that film, but I'm only going to be showing you 2 because we're doing 2 by 2. So again, here is one that focuses on sort of the main story of the film, and it's called Alice in Wonderland Meets the White Rabbit, and this cover is just great. We have all kinds of details, the Cheshire Cat up here, the march of the cards through here, beautiful atmosphere based on the film, of course. Lovely little kind of portrait of Alice and the White Rabbit running by. You can see all that. This is actually one of the most well-regarded Little Golden Book covers ever. It's no coincidence that its art is by Al Dempster, who is probably the most well-regarded of all the Disney Little Golden Book artists. He's so acclaimed that he was honored with the Disney Legend title. It even includes the Jabberwock, this creature here, who didn't even make it into the final film. Like a lot of the Disney artists that worked on these earlier Little Golden Books, Al Dempster was actually a Disney animation artist. He was a background artist, and he worked on many of the classic films, including Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, Sleeping Beauty, so many of them. So I'll put that beautiful art here for you to look at while we turn our attention to this second of our 2 Alice in Wonderland Little Golden Books. Alice in Wonderland finds the Garden of Live Flowers. Well, any flower in a garden would be live, wouldn't it? So obviously Jane Werner, the author, was trying to think of a way to say that the flowers are alive and that they have personalities, they speak, they interact with Alice. And this art is by Campbell Grant, another of the Disney greats. This sequence, of course, is one of the most beautiful in Alice in Wonderland, so how wonderful to have this book focusing on these beautiful flowers and their personalities. The art is really just exquisite, and the storytelling is wonderful too. It ends with Alice meeting the caterpillar, who's such a fun character, and goes into that story to kind of end the story of Alice meeting the live flowers. And we even have this wonderful little cameo of the caterpillar at the end. So it's a real beauty. And those are the two Alice in Wonderland books. Another beautiful Disney film in its own right is Lady and the Tramp. And we have two little golden books to look at based on that film. But both are a little unusual in their own right. For example, here's the little golden book that tells the basic story of the film, but it's not called Lady and the Tramp. It's just called Lady. And for a long time before I actually read this book, I had seen the cover, I assumed that this book would focus on just Lady herself, maybe her life before she met Tramp. So it's interesting to note that, of course, it starts out that way, but it goes into the story of the film. Here's Tramp. So it's curious that they didn't call it simply Lady and the Tramp, but it matters not, because it's a really fun and beautiful retelling of the Lady and the Tramp story, with Lady taking center stage, and I'm sure Tramp doesn't mind. A second little golden book that was inspired, at least, by the Lady and the Tramp film is called Scamp, The Adventures of a Little Puppy. Now, this is really one of my favorites because I do really love the character of Scamp. And as you probably know, Scamp is the son of Lady and the Tramp, along with his three little sisters, who are little ladies, so 3 little ladies and 1 little Scamp. And Scamp was certainly very popular. He had his own comic strip for many years. He's in books and publications, and was even in a direct-to-video sequel to Lady and the Tramp. And he's such a fun character, so it's really fun to see this little golden book that was inspired by him. So far we've seen little golden books based on the animated films, but what about Disneyland? Well, of course, in 1955 and thereafter, there were little golden books centering on Disneyland, and I have 2 of them here, even though there were more than 2, that's for sure. This is one of the first from 1955. It's called Disneyland on the Air, or as I like to call it, Mickey and Donald Need Disneyland Dates. Now, it's interesting that the distinctive style of the little golden books are they have this silver or gold spine, and that's sort of the trademark. In the mid-50s, the little golden books were often tied into the Mickey Mouse Club and had the logo, but also this distinctive in its own right spine, which was red, with Mickey Mouse incorporated into the design. And that's a very cool element in its own right. But what's so interesting about this is that, as you can even see on the cover, it's almost like an idealized version of Disneyland. Look at Sleeping Beauty Castle here. It's gigantic. Look at the rocket ship from Tomorrowland. It's huge. Even Main Street here is quite large. This book may have been created before some of the elements of Disneyland were finalized. And we do see a little bit of Disneyland in the book, but not all that much, because it's Disneyland on the air. And the whole idea is that the Disneyland TV show is going to be broadcast from Disneyland, and Mickey is the producer. Now, this is interesting because, in the first season of Disneyland, which was 1954, 1955, Walt Disney told his television audience that the following season, when Disneyland was open, the Disneyland TV show was going to come from Disneyland. Well, that never happened, as it turned out, but this book seems to reflect that idea because Mickey is putting on the show at Disneyland. And here's a really fun spread with Disneyland elements in the background. Another interesting thing about this book is that it seems to take some of the elements from the Donald Duck story, which was one of the first Disneyland episodes, where Donald took on a lot of personas. Here's Donald as sort of a detective, for example, and we saw that in the Disneyland episode where he's spoofing Dragnet, Detective Joe Friday. But it's really fun. Donald's upset that he's not the star, but Mickey promises that next week he will be. And it says, and for the first time in his life, Donald Duck couldn't think of a thing to say. Can you imagine that? So here we have another very interesting little golden book from 1956. Keep that date in mind. It's Mickey Mouse and the Missing Mouseketeers. Again, Mickey's putting on a show. And it looks like a television show because here's a television camera. And again, it's at Disneyland. But the show is going to star the Mouseketeers and they're nowhere to be found. So Mickey is searching through Disneyland for the Mouseketeers. Obviously, this is tying in with the Mickey Mouse Club. And he finally goes to Fantasyland, finds the seven dwarfs are all asleep, and Mickey has this duel with Captain Hook, who finally tells Mickey that the Mouseketeers are deep in the mine with Minnie and they are all sound asleep. Why? Because Maleficent has put them under her spell and they are asleep just like Sleeping Beauty. So you'll remember I said that this was published in 1956. Sleeping Beauty was not released until 1959, and already they were promoting the characters, at least Maleficent. There she is again. It's just really fun to see Maleficent in this earlier story, like 3 years before the film was made. So there are 2 Disneyland books, and we can't leave Walt Disney World out. So we have 2 Walt Disney World little golden books. The first is from 1975, and it's Donald Duck in America on Parade. And that famous pageant ran from 1975 through 1976 to celebrate America's bicentennial. So really fun, and you can see it's Walt Disney World because here we have the Hall of Presidents and Cinderella Castle. And you can see that Donald and the nephews are dressed in historic garb because America on Parade covers the pageant of American history. So here are some elements from the parade. We also have some historic scenes. The Hall of Presidents again. This really is a very, very fun little golden book that is set at Walt Disney World. Focuses on the parade and not so much Walt Disney World. It's more of a backdrop. But this one really focuses on the Magic Kingdom. This was published in 1996 for Walt Disney World's 25th anniversary, and it's called Mickey's Walt Disney World Adventure Special Collectible Edition. The art here is just great because it's in part illustrated by Scott Tilley, who's a wonderful Disney artist, certainly one of the best. So the art is just so much fun. A real celebration of the Magic Kingdom as Mickey and Minnie tour various areas and realms. Here they are with Daisy visiting It's a Small World. Here they are, the Haunted Mansion. Again, Liberty Square, with Ben Franklin as he appeared in the animated short Ben and Me. So this little golden book is just a fun celebration of Walt Disney World for a significant anniversary. It's just a few of the little golden books, the many, many little golden books that have been published over the years. We'll be revisiting this subject again because there's so many of them to look at and they're all so fun and beautifully done. But please be with us next time when I'll take us on a tour of the history of the stand-up comedian. And anyone that knows me knows that I really enjoy stand-up comedians and I kind of like to study their approach. One of the stand-up comedians that I really like in today's scene is Colin Jost, who is on Saturday Night Live, and he takes the approach of saying the punchline and then staring at the audience until they laugh. See, it works!